It is 6 a.m. and developing right now on Denver7 News.
We need a little bit more discipline here.
The state urging Coloradans to act now to stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Personal responsibility is everything in covering this season.
Now, holiday gatherings are in jeopardy.
Today, a handful of schools go remote because potential infections have grown so large.
Schools in Douglas County don't have enough healthy teachers to stay open. I'll tell you what could be coming next.
Plus, food banks are trying to stay on track ahead of the holidays.
Banks have been running on kind of a disaster response mode since March.
Your generosity could mean more this year than ever before.
Our clients need us more than ever before.
As the weather is turning colder as well, we have a Denver7 weather action day in effect this morning for snowy, icy roads across the Front Range. Be careful out there. This is a look from our CDOT camera at I-25 and 70th Avenue in the North Metro. And good Tuesday morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Molly Hendrickson. You're likely waking up to a layer of ice, maybe a couple inches of snow on your car. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo joins us from her home weather center. And Lisa, a sunny day will help melt some of that snow.
Yeah, it will, but you're right. Give yourself a few extra minutes if you parked outside last night to scrape the windows. Here's a beautiful shot. This is from our Viero camera out on the Eastern Plains there in Brush. One of the last spots to see some snow overnight. Things are gradually clearing out. As the storm exits, we're seeing all that snow up and through Nebraska now, with now some gradual clearing here. It will warm up nicely this afternoon, and we're going to see a lot of melting. Cold, though, this morning. As you step out the door, it's teens to low 20s. Feels like single digits in spots, but we will get into the mid to upper 40s between 2 and 3. So it is going to be a pretty pleasant afternoon. Mid upper 40s for northeastern Colorado, 30s in the mountains. Speaking of the high country, we picked up some good snow with this round, and we're going to get more throughout the week. I'll show you that coming up. Jason?
Yeah, it's still snowing pretty hard in Vail. I'll show you that coming up as well. The drive right now on I-70 over by Wadsworth, you can see it looks mostly wet, but there are some slick spots on these bridges, ramps, and overpasses. So don't be surprised if you see some ice out there. Take a look at the drive that we have. It's a gorgeous sunrise, too, on the southbound side of I-25 going down to 84th Avenue. Starting to see that traffic build up, but again, it looks wet, and some folks are going a little bit faster than maybe the conditions warrant just because they're, getting comfortable with the conditions. Take a look at the map. We have two issues. One, it was reported as a car fire by the Kennedy Golf Course on Havana right by Girard, and the other was a car-person crash over at Colfax and Tower Road in Aurora. But otherwise, it looks basically like good driving conditions on I-70, on I-225, up to the north side. Starting to see a little bit more traffic out there, but really no other big problems just yet on the morning drive.
Thanks, Jason. Governor Jared Polis is warning against large gatherings for Thanksgiving, given the worsening COVID-19 rates in our state. Another 3,500 cases were added to our state total yesterday. Hospitalizations remained above 1,000 for the third straight day. 82% of ICU beds across the state are in use, and that includes both people experiencing COVID symptoms and those who are not. Governor Polis also extended the statewide mask mandate for another 30 days. And the state upgraded the COVID dial for several more counties across Colorado. Arapahoe, Clear Creek, and Elbert counties are now on level orange. The change reduces how many people can be in one place.
I am hopeful that some of the strategies to reduce growth that started around the 23rd of October will now translate into lower case rates and lower hospitalizations this week and the next.
And you can see level orange is just one step away from that stay-at-home order.
Right now, Douglas County remains at the level yellow, but several schools in Douglas County are switching to remote learning today amid a rise in the number of people being exposed to the virus. Denver7's Nicole Brady joins us live. And Nicole, potential infections are so large there aren't enough teachers to keep those schools open.
That's right, Brian. The district substitute teachers to fill in for teachers who have to quarantine. So even schools without large outbreaks or without that many cases are having to go remote. Starting today, two high schools, Douglas County High School in Castle Rock and Legend High School in Parker, will both go fully remote until at least after Thanksgiving. Both schools have had a handful of cases. The big question is whether it's time to shift all schools to remote learning. On Friday, Douglas County's interim superintendent said between October 25th and November 2nd, 2nd, 3,700 students were in quarantine. That's over 5% of the district population. He also noted that the district's decision dashboard score has dropped for 2 weeks in a row. It's not in the red yet, but it's getting there, and the district may need to start preparing to shift to remote learning. The agenda for tonight's school board meeting notes that this back and forth in and out of schools is not ideal for kids or teachers, and staffers are spending too much time focusing on safety and contact tracing over actual instruction. Now, from the agenda, it looks like the Douglas County District might wait till after Thanksgiving break to make the shift to fully remote. That's 10 days away, 10 days that could be critical in containing the spread of the virus. So we'll see what happens tonight. Brian.
Yeah, it could be a long 10 days. Thanks, Nicole. New this morning, school is canceled in Elbert County today and tomorrow after a staff member tested positive. The district will check out Chromebooks Wednesday ahead of remote learning on Thursday. And we've learned the Adams 12 district will take all of its students remote starting Monday because of rising cases in the county.
The city of Denver is working to make sure they have enough resources to keep up with the rising cases. Denver7's Micah Smith joins us live this morning. And Micah, a city council committee is looking to approve money for testing and personal protective equipment.
Molly, the city of Denver is hoping to be reimbursed about $4 million for money it spent on its emergency response to the pandemic. The $4 million will specifically be used for community COVID-19 testing, an important but expensive tool that we need to get this pandemic under control. So far, Denver has received about $38 million from the state related to expenses like sheltering, personal protective equipment, and emergency operations center activities. But when the city initially applied for these funds back in April, the city did not ask for money for contact tracing and widespread testing. So this latest request from the city's Finance and Governance Committee would add both of those items to the list of services that the city would like to be reimbursed for, bringing the total amount of money the city is expecting to receive from the state to $43 million. And the city is hoping the additional $4 million will allow them to test even more Denver residents. The contract agreement between the city, the state, and FEMA began, the contract for that agreement began in April and is expected to run through June 2022. So hopefully by then we'll have this pandemic under control. Reporting live, Micah Smith, Denver7.
I certainly hope so. Thank you, Micah. And the main COVID testing site in Aurora has moved to the parking lot of the Aurora Center for Active Adults at Delmar Park. It used to be at the Aurora Sports Park. It is open from 8 to 5 Mondays through Saturdays.
The FDA gave emergency authorization to a drug that can keep COVID-19 patients out of the hospital. The drug is similar to a pair of therapies President Trump says cured him. Dr. Anthony Fauci says a vaccine is on the way and we just need to hang on.
We know there's light at the end of the tunnel, but that doesn't mean that we're going to give up the important public health measures that we continually still have to do every single day.
Fauci says despite disagreements with President Trump, he has no plans to resign. Drug maker Pfizer said yesterday that their vaccine is more than 90% effective.
President-elect Joe Biden's strategy for controlling the coronavirus lines up with Dr. Fauci's approach. Experts predict Biden's pandemic response changes will include a national mask mandate and more federal guidance for governors and mayors. There will also be increased reliance on international public health groups and increased contact tracing and testing supplies. And with those cases rising nationwide, the Affordable Care Act faces a new challenge today. The Supreme Court hears arguments with its new conservative majority. Challengers are urging the court to rule the requirement to have insurance makes the entire law unconstitutional. A decision is expected in February.
While Biden pushes ahead with plans for the White House, President Trump is still defiant about election results. Overnight, the head of election crimes at the Department of Justice resigned. The move was in protest to Attorney General William Barr issuing a new policy telling U.S. attorneys to pursue substantial allegations of vote tabulation irregularities. So far, there is no evidence of widespread fraud. President Trump's campaign is looking for donations to help pay for lawsuits and recounts. However, some GOP donors are moving on to other fights like runoff elections in Georgia.